Opnieuw reizen we naar Australië, het land waar de technieken van wijnbouw en wijn maken zo geperfectioneerd zijn dat zelfs in droge gebieden frisse, opwekkende wijnen worden gemaakt met een verrukkelijke fruitigheid. Je zou kunnen stellen dat Australische wijnmakers een soort liefdesaffaire hebben met fruit. Als Australische wijnmakers het over een wijn hebben en deze beschrijven, is fruit ook het woord dat ze het vaakst gebruiken. Als weinigen ter wereld weten de Australiërs de fruitige aroma's van de druiven optimaal over te brengen in de wijn. Dit is mogelijk dankzij een verontwikkelde techniek van wijnmaken. In Australië heeft een soort technische revolutie plaatsgevonden die zeer ingrijpend is geweest. Een professor van de Australische Wijnuniversiteit Roseworthy zei eens: als een Australische wijnmaker 20 jaar geleden in slaap zou zijn gevallen en vandaag weer wakker werd, dan zou hij tot zijn verbijstering niet in staat zijn om de wijnapparatuur te herkennen, noch om ermee om te gaan. Ook de Australische wijnbouw, dus het cultiveren van druivenstokken en het aanleggen van wijngaarden, is hoog ontwikkeld. Dit ervaar je sterk in het relatief jonge, zeer uitgestrekte wijngebied Riverina in New South Wales. De wijngaarden zijn er aangelegd op enorme plateaus en kunnen heel efficiënt worden bewerkt. De zon schijnt er volop en irrigatie vindt plaats met het pure water van de bergketen Snowy Mountains. Het toonaangevende bedrijf ter plekke is Cranswick Estate, dat beschikt over zeer moderne apparatuur.
The Riverina is 20% of Australian wine. It's not well known internationally at the moment, but with aggressive export-orientated marketing by companies like Cranswick Estates, I think that overseas is going to see a lot more of Australian wine and a lot more of the Riverina. The Riverina has the soils, it has the right climate, has the varieties, has terrific technology both in the vineyard and winemaking. And we can produce large quantities of value for money wines at prices that the international wine market needs.
Ook in de staat South Australia ligt een vlak, goed geïrrigeerd gebied dat veel wijn voortbrengt. Het bevindt zich langs de rivier Murray en heet daarom Riverland.
It's an area of immense sunshine, and I guess the sunshine comes through in some of the fruit flavours in our wines, and it's almost a matter of taming some of that character back and retaining the softness and the freshness by use of technology. Over 50% of our grape receivals are now mechanically harvested, and that mechanical harvesting occurs overnight. The wines from the inland irrigated regions, I think, stand alone. I guess from a historical point of view, they used to be distillation and fortified producing areas, and it's only recently that we've changed the grape varieties to be more classical wine grapes, and the resultant quality, because of our sunshine and technology, is only now just starting to receive some acclaim in Australia and throughout the world.
Een stad die we nog niet hebben bezocht is Victoria, waarvan Melbourne de hoofdstad is. Victoria heeft een aantal vrij kleine wijngebieden die meestal ver uit elkaar liggen. Het dichtst bij Melbourne bevindt zich Yarra Valley.
Pinot Noir is an impossible grape to categorise. You can do all of the studies in the world in advance looking at climate and soil. You simply aren't going to know by that sort of approach whether or not it's going to work. Pinot Noir has just found one of its rare homes in the world in the Yarra Valley.
Een ander kwaliteitsgebied is Pyrenees, waar een Fransman is neergestreken.
What we have here is quite unique. It's fairly rich in iron. Caltani, I must tell you, is an Aboriginal name for red earth. And it has, if you like, two of the main components from the Bordeaux area. One is gravels, which you have in Medoc, and we also have clay, which is Saint-Emilion. And after all, if you can make a blend of the two of them, you got, I think, a wine which a lot of people would like.
En helemaal in het noordoosten van de staat experimenteren de gebroeders Brown met allerlei voor Australië nieuwe druivensoorten.
We just introduced recently 3 Italian varieties, which are the Barbera, Dolcetto and Nebbiolo, which look like being very, very successful. And we have Sangiovese on the way too, and probably Tempranillo from Spain.
Ook in het uiterste westen van Australië wordt wijn gemaakt, in een aantal gebieden niet ver van de kust.
It's not a hot region. It's never really hot here. I think our highest temperature is 35 degrees that we've ever had in the 20-odd years I've been in the vineyard. And it's always cold at night.
The ocean has a huge influence. I mean, like the breeze we've got coming in now, which is cooling everything, is a sea breeze. And if we didn't have that, it might be classified as a hot climate, but it cools everything right down.
There's often a feeling that this is the most Mediterranean part of the whole continent.
This is Mediterranean. This is classified as a West Coast Mediterranean climate. We have very wet winters and mild summers, as we're experiencing right now. These waves are coming all the way from the South Pole. This is the Indian Ocean that we're looking at, and there's really nothing between here and South Africa. It's this ocean that plays such an important part in the climate that we have at Margaret River.
Het oudste wijngebied van Western Australia is Swan Valley, ten noordoosten van de hoofdstad Perth. De eerste wijnoogst vond daar plaats in 1834. In Swan Valley liggen 2/3 van alle wijngaarden van Western Australia. Het oudste wijnhuis hier is Horton.
The styles of wine we're trying to make are obviously to show the best fruit flavour from the regions that we get grapes from. So in particular Verdelho, the spice and richness that we get from Moonabrook will always be obvious in the wine. The Chenin Blanc will be full-bodied, it will be with the lovely passion fruit characters that you achieve from Moonabrook. And then as you go down south towards Margaret River, around Franklin River and Mount Barker, you tend to get the more delicate fruit characters for Chardonnay, Shiraz, Cabernet Sauvignon and in particular Rye.
In Australië zelf beginnen steeds meer consumenten de kwaliteiten van de eigen wijnen te ontdekken en hetzelfde geldt voor wijnliefhebbers in de rest van de wereld. De Australische producenten zien de toekomst van hun wijnindustrie dan ook vol optimisme tegemoet.
The Australian wine industry is, I think, quite buoyant. I think we're planting more and more vineyard to service not only our domestic needs but our international needs. Australia is, you know, you're here on a hot day today and taste the sunshine. You not only get a taste of the sunshine climatically, but you also can pick up those flavours in our wines. We make very honest wines in Australia, and therefore they're getting great acceptance overseas. And while that acceptance is there, and while we can continue to produce high quality product at the right price, I think we will have a very, very good future.
We've proven that you know, we make very, very good wine. It's a good district. It's Australia is very lucky in the sense that it's got plenty of soil. We've got freedom in the sense we're not under appellation control, so we can still experiment. The Aussie winemaker really is very experimental and very innovative. And even though we've been growing grapes here for 150 years, we're still playing around and finding little areas that might be better suited to this variety or that variety. So it's a case of, if you can't learn something every year, well, you might as well give it away.
There's no question that the Australian wine industry, and a continent as large as this, has an enormous range of microclimates, can produce a wonderful range of varieties and styles, and even from the same variety. And so the sophistication of the region and the technology that exists in this country has come such a long way in the period of the last 15, 20 years that it really is quite mind-blowing, and it's exciting to be part of that industry which has seen such massive growth. I mean, we're projecting by the turn of the decade $1 billion worth of export sales, but in order to achieve that we have to invest a further $1.2 billion in new plant and equipment and vineyards and distribution. Those are fairly scary sort of figures when you consider that the Australian wine industry today is probably worth about the same sort of money.
The Australian wine industry has grown rapidly. For many years it has been nothing more than a souvenir almost internationally, but the last half a decade it has really come into its full potential. And of course now we have the current situation where international demand together with local demand is forcing us to expand our viticultural plantings, which is a good thing. It gives us a better base, and a lot of exciting new regions are being planted. I think as long as the Australian wine industry can prevent any scandal, can control the quality that we export, we can continue to grow good quality wines and retail them at reasonable prices, I think we've got a terrific future.
Hiermee is onze ontdekkingsreis door Australië ten einde, maar nog niet onze ontdekkingsreis door de Nieuwe Wijnlanden. Want volgende week gaan we naar Nieuw-Zeeland, dat onder meer furoren maakt met zijn fantastische witte wijnen, zoals Sauvignon Blanc. Dus graag, tot volgende week.
Bij deze cursus hoort een cursusboek. U kunt in het bezit komen van dit boek door overmaking van 19,90 gulden op postbank 1494300 ten name van AVRO Service in Hilversum. Het boek is ook verkrijgbaar bij boekhandel en slijter.